Okay, our next panel is focused on growth through investment. And I want to introduce our 5 panelists. First of all, Ionut Savoiu, State Secretary at the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure, Government of Romania. Welcome. Have a seat. Victoria Zinchuk, Director and Head of Romania at the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, EBRD. Welcome. Stefan Kraus, Chief Operating Officer at Henley Partners. Welcome.
Sure.
Please take a seat. Bogdan Mărginean, Technical Subdivision Director, Civil Engineering, STRABAG Romania. And George Kremlis, Member of the Board of Directors, European Public Law Organization. Welcome. Have a seat. Okay, let's get going because we're all on a tight schedule again. And I think all of you, again, will make some opening remarks. So please, over to you.
Thank you very much. So my name is Ionut Savoiu. I'm Secretary of State in the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure in charge of coordination of rail transport. And I'm happy and very glad to be with you here. Thank you very much again for this good event, that it's a continuation of more over the years, which is a good sign. The first, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, how can Europe be better connected through the transport infrastructure and logistics? This was the first item on our agenda today. And of course, Europe can become better connected through transport infrastructure and logistics by adopting a multi-approach that prioritizes modernized integration and sustainability. First of all, we have to modernize and enhance the trans-European transport network, which is a key factor. This network, which spans across the continent, needs to be upgraded, especially in the eastern part of Europe and in the peripheral regions. Improving road, rail, and maritime links can help reduce congestions, shorten the travel time, facilitate efficient movement and goods and people and services across the borders. So this has a clear impact on the economic side of Europe. On the other way, better connected Europe, better connectivity means and requires promoting multimodal transport systems that allows easier transfer between different transport modes, such rail, roads, maritime, air and sea. And of course, this is not an easy task. There is a lot of change over the years, especially in our country, where many years the rail transport, for instance, was marginal, was not so well financed, and suddenly over the years we receive a lot of programs and projects, and we have to cope with this important challenge. On the other side, the question if the 3 Seas initiative has a role in improving the connectivity between Adriatic, Baltic and Black Sea. What is important regarding this important progress between 12 EU countries started and launched in 2015. We discussed a lot, and Romania is an important and major player in this initiative. Romania has received European funds to support the development along these 3 Seas initiative projects. And one of the most important was Via Carpathia, that wants to link the Baltic Sea to Adriatic and Black Sea, avoiding the Carpathians. And as you know, we have the Transylvania route, the Transylvania motorway, which is part of this project. Also the link from the Rin-Danube corridor, the link from Curtici Arad to Constanța. So we have important achievements over the years. Of course, there was a lot of waiting time for the developing these projects, but we could see the results, and I think most important ones. We have important achievement over the last 5 years. On the other side, we have. It's important to point out also some important projects in the pipeline. Aside the ones which are under development now, both on the road and rail, we have an important pipeline of projects in order to connect the Black Sea ports, Odessa, Constanța, Burgas in Bulgaria, with the Baltic Sea ports in Gdansk and Gdynia on the direct route. Also, the branches of this route from multimodal corridor from Gdansk to Constanța represent the fastest connection between the two ports, considering that difficult mountain section that will be avoided. We should mention also the Kiev branch corridor through a normal gauge on the rail sector, an important project in the pipe that will improve the rail connectivity between Ukraine and Romania and Europe. And also, as a part of this component, we have the new approved line of corridor through Chișinău and Odessa, which are on the TEN-T network since 2023, as we remember. And also on these routes, we have the motorway A7 that will link furthermore to Bulgaria and Greece with a new bridge in Giurgiu and between Giurgiu and Ruse. Hopefully will be a combined road and rail bridge, which is in the feasibility study at the moment. So as you see, we have plenty of projects which are in the pipeline where Ministry of Transportation Infrastructure in Romania is focused on, and hopefully we will have this project in different stages over the next years, and during the next decade, all this will be done and implemented. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm with you here for further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next, we have Victoria Zinchuk from the EBRD. Welcome.
Thank you. I was listening with a lot of interest to your presentation because there is indeed a very strong pipeline of projects here in Romania, and we all see very active investments at this point in time in the motorway sector. One of the questions that I have is if there is enough financing to finance all of these projects. I can certainly say that at EBRD, we do not have any projects in the transport sector at this point in time in our pipeline, which is a concern because this is something that definitely needs to be prepared well in advance in order for institutions such as EBRD to step in and provide financing if and when EU funds that at this point in time are allocated to finance a very large part of their pipeline may not be available to Romania given their discussions with regard to the RRF absorption and generally the state of play in Europe when we speak about the potential EU funds that could be dedicated to it. So my strong advice is to consider other financiers, and I'm not talking just about EBRD here, I'm talking about other banks, whether they are private banks, whether they are development banks, because I believe strongly that without private sector financing, without having additional funds other than grants, the ability of the Romanian government to implement very ambitious and much needed pipeline in the transport sector in Romania may be somewhat delayed. It doesn't mean that it's not possible, but I think that the delays in implementation will be definitely there. There is no question whether this ambitious pipeline of project is needed. Of course, it is needed. And as we speak about Romania and the potential for Romania to become one of the main logistics hub for Southeastern Europe, and this is really where for EBRD we are playing already a very significant role in this context. I think there is definitely a big question mark how Romania can take the full advantage of being geographically placed in the area where definitely it makes sense for private sector to develop further the logistics operations, but also the opportunities that will come with the reconstruction of Ukraine. When we speak about Ukraine, a lot of it is being said generally about Romanian potential to be there as a logistics hub. But I do not know how many of you have traveled across the border between Romania and Moldova, between Romania and Ukraine. I have. And since both of us have traveled, I can tell you that there is no way that any serious logistics operation can take place at this point in time without major improvements in the border crossing points. One of their border crossing points, very close to Satu Mare by Mare, at this point in time has a bridge, which is a wooden bridge effectively. So you can imagine how the big trucks can cross it or not. Their other border crossing points do not need to have a bridge, but they are very small. And at this point in time, despite what we can imagine while having this border line between Romania and Ukraine, giving this huge opportunity for Romania, I think without strategically looking whether anything at this point in time can really happen in terms of connecting better these two countries. Also on the Romanian side, because you probably know that the motorways at this point in time are not really reaching, particularly the eastern part of Romania. So I think at this point in time, there are a lot of questions, not many answers. One answer that we have from our side, and we have approached the Ministry of Transport of Romania already a while ago, expressing our strong interest in supporting border crossing points between Romania and Ukraine, as well as Romania and Moldova, because there are many bridges that need to be reconstructed between Romania and Moldova, and this definitely requires very large preparation as well as financing. And from our end, we stand by to support those if and when those projects will be taking place. Now, where we do see a lot of things happening is in the private sector. Private sector development in Romania in the logistics sector is very vibrant. So when I looked at the statistics between 2021 and now, we see that the investments by the logistics companies have really doubled, tripled, and it's really impressive to see how private sector is really identifying opportunities for Romania as being real hub in terms of their developments. When you look at their top 4 players in the market, EBRD has financed all of them. We have provided at this point in time roughly around €500 million in direct financing to the logistics providers. Our first financing was done back in 2016, and I used to be based in Romania 20 years ago, and I remember this first EBRD warehousing facility, which was in Pipera, and I remember visiting it. At those point in time, Pipera felt like it was really the outskirts of Bucharest. And of course, at this point in time, you know how the development of the city has taken place. So from our perspective, we can be quite confident that investments in logistics will continue in Romania. We see very strong pipeline. We see regional projects taking place. And this is really where there is a big difference that Romania can make in terms of the contribution to the economy, because it does indeed have amazingly large network of the rail. It will have in a few years from now improved motorway infrastructure, and we stand by to support both private sector as well as public sector developments in this context.
Thank you very much indeed. Stefan Kraus, Chief Operating Officer, Henley Partners. Welcome.
Thanks a lot. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As you heard, I'm the Group CEO of Henley Partners. We're the market leader in investment migration. So we advise wealthy individuals, entrepreneurs, businessmen, investors, but also governments regarding so-called residence and citizenship by investment programs. And my speech now will focus on how such investment migration programs can strengthen Europe's future. We gather today at a turbulent moment for our continent. The international framework that has sustained European prosperity and security over decades faces unprecedented change. After 75 years of relative peace and virtually guaranteed security, Europe finds itself operating in a new reality. One where traditional alliances are pivoting and our continent must ensure its own strategic autonomy and economic resilience. Drawing from my experience at Henley Partners, I've seen firsthand the incredible potential of investment migration initiatives, so residence and citizenship investment programs, to bolster national strength. These programs are set to become essential instruments for securing Europe's prosperity in an age when safety is no longer a given. Recent years have seen tremendous growth in interest in investment migration opportunities. Our firm has experienced a 60% surge in applications over the past year, which was further boosted by the election of Mr. Trump as President of the United States. This remarkable uptick reflects growing awareness that securing alternative residence or citizenship options represents a level of strategic foresight that is increasingly necessary. Investment migration programs generate substantial, as we call it, sovereign equity, direct capital infusions that enable nations to fund crucial initiatives without expanding government debt burdens. Malta's experience illustrates this transformative potential. Their program attracted investments exceeding 1.1 billion euro in direct contributions between 2015 and 2021, supplemented by substantial property investments and government bond purchases. This revenue stream helped government achieve remarkable economic growth and maintain among Europe's lowest unemployment rates. The residence by investment programs in Portugal and Greece, also known as Golden Visa programs, have resulted in foreign direct investment of more than 5 billion euro. It is obvious that such programs can provide significant funding for Europe's critical priorities, enhancing military readiness, transitioning to renewable energy, modernizing digital networks, and strengthening healthcare infrastructure. Rather than passing financial obligations to future generations, investment migration creates sustainable funding channels for these essential developments. Our analysis indicates that in 2025, we'll witness more than 142,000 high net worth individuals pursuing new residence opportunities worldwide, marking unrivaled levels of wealth migration. Europe must position itself to both retain and attract accomplished individuals capable of contributing to our continent's continued prosperity. When implemented with thorough due diligence, investment migration enriches our societies through diverse talents, experiences, and resources. It embodies the progressive openness that characterizes modern European identity. Looking forward, investment migration will increasingly help European nations maintain fiscal strength and strategic independence. Maximizing these advantages requires maintaining exceptional standards of integrity aligned with European values and interests. This demands comprehensive background screening, due diligence on the applicants, transparent fund management, and clear connections to strategic development objectives. The question facing us involves not whether to implement investment migration programs in Europe, but rather how to optimize their potential for strengthening European resilience, autonomy, and prosperity. By embracing these opportunities while maintaining appropriate oversight, we ensure Europe's continued leadership in an evolving world order. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Over now to Bogdan Mărginean, from STRABAG.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It's very clear for all of us that Romania plays a very important role in the geopolitical and economical landscape. We already heard that by EU-financed programs, we have a lot of investment in big infrastructure, from railway, highways, ports, airports. These are main links to communities. But furthermore, these links also mean economical growth and stability. Nevertheless, in the construction business, and I would like to bring maybe a fresh perspective on an old industry, we need to talk about change. Innovation is the baseline we are building nowadays. We have also digitalization and sustainability. So from this perspective, last year, I think construction output was 8% of the GDP. The construction industry is activating more than 10 employees on the horizontal. We can think about all these instruments and all these concepts. Why not to bring output above 10% of the GDP and activating on horizontal more than 20 employees. STRABAG is living these concepts by daily basis. We are using recycled asphalt, low emission concrete, self-healing concrete, but also drone survey for our sites. Furthermore, digitalization in means of building digital twins of the construction, beam, usage of beam, not only for the 3 dimensions, for the spatial dimensions, but also adding another layer, the 4th layer, cost, the 5th layer, time. Of course, in being much more productive, in having a better output and controlling our project from cost point of view, from budget offshore, and time. These are very easy means to use on a daily basis, but these are the steps that STRABAG is now applying to our biggest goal, to be climate neutral till 2040. As I said, construction is a very, very conservative business, highly regulated, and I think now is the time to speak about a robust partnership between private and state, public, ensuring economical growth, stability, and a greener future. Because we are speaking about the future, we also need to think about the next generations. These also need to be trained in this mindset, in a fresh mindset, applying digitalization and sustainability in the construction business. And we heard about a lot of projects that need to be implemented in the next years. I would like to launch a question about thinking using the infrastructure for dual use. We have the transport ministry here present, and this is a very actual topic, using the infrastructure for military as well as for civil purpose. Nevertheless, we also need to think about resources. Raw resources are limited. We need to think about green building, about sustainability, recycle, circular economy from several points of view.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. And now over to you, George Kremlis.
Well, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. And many thanks to the economists for this great event. Congratulations. Let me start looking into the map of Europe, starting from the Black Sea, the 3 seas, going to the Baltic Sea, going to the Black Sea, to the Adriatic, and to the Aegean, as the 3 seas have now become 4 seas, and hopefully they will become 5 seas with the participation of Cyprus, to have also its Mediterranean part of this huge project. This is the project that needs further to be supported, and I do believe that all of us, the countries involved in the process, needed to ensure that in the next programming period, the appropriate financing will be available, including under Connecting Europe facility, not only under the structural funds, to boost this important project. Now, when you see this map, the vertical axis to which the Secretary of State had referred is extremely important, starting from the Aegean, Greece, going up to Bulgaria, then to Romania, then to Moldova, and to Ukraine. And in that respect, the axis of the three European Union countries, Greece, Bulgaria, and Romania, is the backbone of the European Union in the region, not only vis-à-vis Moldova and Ukraine, but also vis-à-vis the Western Balkans. And in that respect, I would like to repeat what President Stanishev has mentioned, that we need a strong cooperation of the three countries in the region. We are neighbors. We are now in Schengen. Greece has contributed a lot for Bulgaria and Romania to be in the Schengen, and we are also supporting you to be hopefully at the end of the year part of the Eurozone, which will be also an important achievement. And contrary to what some speakers, two speakers have said in the morning, that there is no internal market, there is a full internal market institutionally and legally speaking. What is lacking is the territorial, economic and social cohesion and the boosting of the internal market to remove the last barriers that exist, and also to promote a banking union, which is extremely important to that effect. Now, the big challenge for us will be, in addition to the infrastructure to which the minister had referred, the reconstruction of Ukraine. The war has to end. Hopefully it will end soon. And the big challenge will be how our three countries will be able to participate in the reconstruction of Ukraine, which is estimated currently 1 trillion euros. And you will ask me who will pay the bill. Under the current Trump administration, Europe will pay the bill. This is clear to all of us. And of course, this is a bill that will be paid under a second recovery and resilience plan, COVID type, or under a new Marshall type plan that Europe will have to initiate, and the United States will draw the benefits from the region, from the rare earths and the critical raw materials of Ukraine and possibly of Russia. Now, let me tell you that in 2021, we, the European Union, the Commission, has signed a memorandum of understanding with Ukraine on raw materials. But this memorandum had been sleeping. It now came out from the drawers, but in reality, others have been more proactive in that respect. In any case, I do believe that not only as regards the raw materials, because there are raw materials in other regions of Ukraine as well, and in other regions of the European Union, and listening to the previous panel, through circular economy, we can have critical raw materials, because we can recover critical raw materials through recycling, which is very important. But what is important is for our companies, not on STRABAG, all our companies, to be part of the reconstruction process and to cooperate to create the critical mass which is needed, as the current infrastructure of Ukraine is Soviet Union type. They needed to change all their infrastructure, drinking water, waste treatment water, hospitals, industrial emissions. They need to apply the acquis, the environmental acquis, and also the acquis of the European Union in general, which requires best available techniques. And therefore, in that respect, the role of the European Union, and in that respect, the EIB and the EBRD will be very instrumental in providing not only the available funding, but also the climate proofing, which will be needed for these new infrastructures to be built. So, stronger cooperation, and I do believe that what we did in 2023, a summit in Ektinograd the city of the Black Sea between the three prime ministers of our three countries, which has not unfortunately been repeated in 2024 because of the elections and the other circumstances. After the presidential elections in Romania, hopefully will be, let's say, convened again for the three countries to agree on how we need to proceed. Two more remarks on that. The T2C project is extremely important in that respect. This is the project that will connect by railway the ports of Thessaloniki, Kavala, Alexandroupolis, Burgas, Varna, Ruse, Giurgiu, Constanța, and Odessa. Extremely important, a green railway project, which will be a bypass to the straits, which will speed up the process and which will be instrumental for the reconstruction of Ukraine, but also for the connectivity between our countries in the region. And what is also extremely important is to build the bridges over the Danube. The estimation is that 5 bridges are needed. The existing ones need to be upgraded. Last but not least, on the energy side, energy pipelines, which can also become dual pipelines to have hydrogen coming also to Romania, are to be initiated. We have the IGB pipeline connecting Greece to Bulgaria. This is to be extended to reach your country. And the very, very last point, Madam Moderator, Greece will bring green energy from Egypt thanks to the Gregi undersea cable and thanks to the Great Sea Interconnector bringing green energy from Israel, Cyprus. The Gregi will bring green energy from Egypt. It is extremely important to extend the grid between our three countries and to build the appropriate storage capacity which will be needed to benefit from Greece from this green, clean energy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we've got about 10 minutes or less, actually, it seems. Less time than that. So some very quick fire questions for all of you, each of you. Stefan Kraus, just wanted to turn to you first of all. You presented some very interesting data about the expansion and the appetite for your investment migration programs, certainly over the past year and longer. So I just wanted to ask you about Romania, focusing on Romania. What makes Romania an attractive place, do you think, for, is it the location? Is it the size of the country? Is it the business operating environment? What are the kind of main factors that would attract people to be involved in such a scheme here?
Thanks a lot for the question. And I believe it's all what you just stated. Our clients look for programs all over the world. They look for opportunities in Europe, especially in the last, I would say, 5 years, wealthy US Americans look for residence or citizenship in Europe. They look for stable countries. They look for countries which are attractive in terms of economic opportunities, living standards, culture. And I believe Romania ticks all these boxes. And in addition to that, Romania recently joined the Schengen area. So if you now become a resident of Romania, you can travel with the residence card to other Schengen countries. And that makes a big difference to the attractiveness from I would say, migration program point of view. So I think Romania could easily now compete with other programs in Europe, like the Portugal Golden Visa Program, the Spanish Golden Visa Program, the Greek Golden Visa Program. And it all depends then whether there's some other upside for like a US investor, maybe a quicker route to Romanian citizenship after 2 years, after 3 years, without language requirements, if they, next to investing here, maybe contribute to the economy in another way by sponsoring projects, infrastructure projects, streets, kindergartens, whatever it is. So I think these considerations, the country itself, the attractiveness of the travel document, the residence card or the citizenship, and then is there a route from residence to citizenship, which is the goal we see with a lot of clients, especially from the US. That's the reason why Portugal is so attractive, because they have a 5-year route to Portuguese citizenship after becoming a resident, and you need to learn Portuguese, so that's a barrier, but still that makes the program more attractive than, for example, the Spanish or the Greek Golden Visa program, where there isn't such a route to citizenship.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you. Mr. Mărginean, you talked about quite eloquently about the need for the construction industry itself to change and certainly to become more sustainable with the objective also of increasing its share in the national GDP in 8% now. That's actually quite a big figure already, but obviously the ambition is to go further. So I just wanted to ask you more about the policy and regulatory environment within Romania. What would facilitate this? What would help the industry to assume a greater role in driving growth in the economy?
Yeah, if we are speaking now about the private clients, they already have pushing these topics through the employee requirements, and the bar is raised very high. But as I mentioned before, the public sector is a little bit behind. By putting real and drafting real employee requirements, pushing all these topics from digitalization to sustainability, this would help a lot implementing all these concepts and all these tools in a much shorter time. I give you one example. We have at the moment the whole infrastructure for paperless site. Why we need to cut trees and shift from left to right cubic meters of paper, in the respect that all stakeholders could access the project, the digital model in a cloud. So these are a lot of, and furthermore, from design point of view, the early involvement of the general contractor in the design stage, and I am advocating a lot for design and build projects. This is a huge advantage also for the employer, for the customer.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
In terms of cost, in terms of technical outcome, of performance of the building, time to implement this building.
Mm-hmm. I think the State Secretary wants to respond to this. And also, if I can ask you, because we've got to respond to this, and really questions have been raised by George Kremlis and by the EBRD, which really are about expansion of these 3Cs initiative and the big question of financing and a lack of projects that the EBRD doesn't really have more projects in the pipeline. So should we be concerned about that? And the big question of then, of financing and how you see that. So yeah, I think you've got to answer those questions.
I have to pick up the challenge for this. First of all, I remember some figures from a couple of years ago. There was a gap of 3 billion euros for financing the large infrastructure projects in Romania. So it's a huge gap between the available funds and the funds needed in order to go full speed ahead with all the projects on one side. On the other side, the capacity for expending the money, it's also important because you have very much money, but you are not good enough to spend the money on the existing project due to different reasons. And one of the reasons what I would like to pick up the challenge from a colleague from STRABAG is that the design phase, the permitting part, also the project preparation and consultancy around the supervision of the project is a very challenging part of the project. And when we speak about large infrastructure projects and digital digitalization of these parts of the business for large infrastructure construction, I think will have a role and a direct effect to shorten the duration of the project if happens. So I agree that we need more standards, more regulations, how to pass to the digital part of this digitalization of this important project cycle stages, where reaching, I think, fast access to the information, fast access to changes in the projects will enable the authorities to implement the project faster. I hope we will go to this part of development as fast as possible during the next years. It's obvious for everybody that we should do important steps in this direction. Regarding the finances, on top of the gap of finances, we have at least 3-4 programs now available with the European funds. We have a Connecting Europe facility. We have a national program for recovery and resilience, and also we have the program transport. So we have 3 important public finances available through the European Commission. But on the other side, of course, we have approached especially for underground network in Bucharest, the Bank of Japan and also the International BEI, the Bank of European Investment Bank. This is the right translation. Of course, as I said, there is a big gap and there are opportunities, but also we have to look at how the bankability of this project, how feasible they are for the EBRD type of financing. And I think there is a lot of discussion how far we can go with the EBRD type of financing in the next future in order to reduce the finances gap we talked about.
Okay, and any final points about the expansion, the possible expansion of the 3Cs initiative and the need for more cooperation, especially with
and also with also cooperation between the countries, and we have cooperation, very good cooperation with the neighboring countries. We already are focused with also to the expansion of the projects cross-border. We have very good cooperation with the Hungarian government on the western borders. We have very many projects on exactly on the corridor of 3Cs initiative. We have Oradea Arad motorway, which is under development at the moment. The bids were done. It's also Satu Mare OR, another cross-border project that links Romanian motorway network with the western border motorways. And of course we experienced a very good cooperation also on developing new projects with Bulgaria and Greece on these new projects that were mentioned today here. Of course, we are not at the point to discuss about 4 bridges across the Danube, but it's obvious that more bridges across the Danube will enhance the economic growth in the region. And I think having a railway and motorway bridge across Danube in Rusu Giurgia in the near future, because we are already in the development phase, we are in the feasibility study status financed by the EU, I think will be an important milestone to enhance the connectivity between Bulgaria and Romania and furthermore towards Greece. And when we speak about Moldova connections, last week there was a startup kickoff for the new bridge in Ungheni, which will be a fast motorway connection between Chișinău and Iași. And as it was mentioned today, we are focused when we speak about cross-border projects to the eastern countries, Moldova and Ukraine. We discussed about changing the financing European projects only for the European standards gauge. So there will be, if there be European funds available, they will be for the European standards rate. Okay. So this is already under discussion since a few years in the European Commission.
Thanks very much for answering that. I'm afraid we're out of time. We're always up against time, and we've got our final session now, energy session. So please join me in thanking our panelists very much for this very interesting session on the investment environment here.